I think a lot of the time our limitations are based upon our previous experiences. And when you say step up to the bar and you say, I've never done this before, with that kind of weight to it, it becomes a lot different, you know? Whereas when you come up to the bar and you say, I've never done this before, you're like, I know I'm about to do this. I think when we go into life in that way, not in this mindset of saying like, oh, I've never done this before, I don't want to mess this up. Like if you go into the mindset of like, I don't care if I mess this up, I hope I screw this up, right? No expectation whatsoever. When you step up to that bar, at least you're giving yourself a shot, right? The cards may not line up. Like if you put 500 pounds on the bar, Mo, and you're like, I know I can do this, and everybody's looking like, she ain't gonna do this. Yeah, like at least you're giving yourself a shot, right? And I think that we completely disqualify ourselves when in our mind we defeat ourselves before we show up. Like don't even bother showing up if you don't think you have a chance of doing it. Now, if you believe in your heart that you can actually do it, then that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to unlock that potential. That is kind of what the exciting part about life is that you're not gonna always have the answer. You're not gonna know how the show ends, right? You're gonna have to kind of show up and be vulnerable and put yourself out there and see what life throws at you, good, bad, or indifferent, right? So I told you guys that I am coaching youth lacrosse teams, and I had no clue whether I can make it work or not. And one of the biggest things that came into my mind was I don't want to let people down. And there's a part of me that says, great, it's awesome to be liked, but realistically that's dependence, right? I don't want anybody to have to depend on me for them to have a great workout. What I want to do is have all of you guys be able to like eventually go ahead and fly off on your own, right? Like it's great to be able to teach people how to fly, but I don't want it to be dependent upon me having to watch you fly for you to be able to fly. I'm trying to actually empower myself, and by empowering myself, that empowers others. Because I want you to feel the same way that I feel when I come into the gym, when I go to work, when I have relationships with other people. The worst thing in the world is having someone else need you. Right? It's not very good in some sense. Like some people, like they love that little, oh yeah, I would love to have you around my finger kind of deal. But there's a feeling deep down inside of you that says, I want you to be okay with or without me. Earlier today, I did a little experiment. And you know I like to play around with meditation and all that kind of stuff. And earlier in the day, I was rolling out and I was kind of alone. I finally had an opportunity to slow down. So I took out the foam roller and I was just kind of very in the moment. And all of a sudden, I kind of quieted my mind a little bit and I started listening here. So 23 hours, 50 minutes a day, I'm usually listening to here. And for that 10 minutes, I just listened to here. That's all I did. I was just like, what is this saying right now? What is my body feeling? So I started kind of just listening to this area here. And all of a sudden, I kind of was overwhelmed with a little bit of a frustration and anger that I kind of been penting up and lashing out with on some people around me. And once I allowed that to be, all of a sudden I kind of started weeping a little bit. I cried. And it felt good because I was actually addressing what my underlying feeling was. And I was trying to mask or fall into addictions around me to prevent myself from feeling those things. So I wasn't actually listening. I was just saying, I need to fix this. So let me scroll through Facebook. I need to fix this. Let me read. I need to fix this. Let me clean my house. I never clean my house. I cleaned my house today. That's how much I wanted to avoid the feeling that I actually had. You ever been around someone really, really emotional and you're like, right? Yeah, I mean, it's uncomfortable. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world. And when you're conditioned to believe that that is not right, you don't want to show emotion. You want to be hard. You want to be tough. You can't show that you're weak because men aren't supposed to be emotional. They're not supposed to cry. And guess what? They just sit there and they're depressed. So today I did a little bit of experiment. That's just the backstory behind it. I was at the light up the road here, sit on my scooter, turn off my ignition. I close my eyes because I was like, I have 90 seconds before I'm basically going to be going into work. I want to take this 90 seconds. I want to give it to myself. And just thinking about it now, like, that's such a cool thing to be able to give yourself just time, right? Just giving yourself 90 seconds to you. nobody else. You're not trying to figure something out for someone else. You're not trying to please anybody else. I just sat there at the light. I'm gonna close my eyes. I'm gonna give myself 90 seconds. I closed my eyes. I didn't think about anything. I just felt. I felt here. And all of a sudden I had like a sensation here, and I just focused on that. I didn't try to figure out why am I feeling that way. I just sat with that feeling right here. And then all of a sudden, the feeling started to go right here. And I was like, okay, I feel it here. I feel anxiety. Why would I feel anxiety? Where was I? Stoplight, right? And for me, one of the worst feelings is having somebody lay on their horn. I hate that. But it's the weight behind it, because when I hear horn, I hear, ah, like someone's angry at me. And that cuts deep down inside of me and brings me back to this level of someone like, to me, right? That scared little boy, like, oh, that's what I hear when I hear a horn. I know that sounds weird to some of you, but that's just me being honest. So once I felt that, I was like, cool, I'm staying with it. And I stayed with it. I'm like, I'm just gonna breathe, and I'm just gonna stay with that feeling. I'm not letting you go. I'm not pushing you away. That scared little boy in that spot right there, I'm gonna give you some time. And I don't care if someone lays on the horn behind me. They can go around. And I just gave that to myself. And I breathed, and I breathed, and I stayed with it. And all of a sudden I open my eyes, the lights turn yellow, I turn on my ignition, and I drive away. I didn't know that the light was gonna be yellow. I just opened up the space for it to happen. And I think a lot of the time we try to control the space that our life exists in, instead of just letting go and allowing those things that are just meant to be to fall into place. And when you do that, magical, magical things can happen. Transformational Thursday for today.